Welcome to a new video which is about trigonometric equations. In this video I will be showing you the formulas used to solve such questions first and then solve 3 instructive examples. Without further ado, let's get started. Here guys we have sine of x, which is defined in this interval. So x is between 0 and 2 pi, and in that case if we say x is equal to alpha, and then the second solution can be x is equal to pi minus alpha. And this is the solution where x is between 0 and 2 pi, as I said. But if you keep going, adding more angles, then we can add also this part. So we can also add multiple of 2 pi's to the solution, which are also solution. And when it comes to cosine, again, let's say our angle is between 0 and 2 pi again. And in this case, if x is alpha, and then again another solution is x is negative alpha. Well, what do I mean by writing those? Let's say we solved the question and we found out that sine x is square root of 3 divided by 2. So in this case, x is 60 degree, right? Or 60 degree is pi divided by 3. So, and in this case, alpha is going to be pi divided by 3, guys. Okay? And if alpha is pi divided by 3, and then for sine of x, we are talking about sine of x, the second solution is going to be pi minus, let me write it here, pi minus pi divided by 3, which is going to be pi times 3, 3 pi minus 1 pi, 2 pi, which is 2 pi divided by 3, guys. So in such a question, for example, if you find one solution like this, as we found here, as alpha, which is pi divided by 3, in this case, by using this second formula, you can find the second solution, as I did here. And for tangent x and cotangent x, x is between again 0 and 2 pi, including 0 excluding 2 pi, and in this case we only have one solution, which is x is equal to alpha. And if you want to find out more solutions greater than 360, then you can also add the multiple of pi values. And this is our first question, guys, in this video. And in the question it says find the solution of tangent x, which is equal to square root of 3, and our x is between 0 and 2 pi. So in this case, what is the value of x? If you remember the special right triangle, guys, this is 90 degree. Suppose that this is x. So how we can apply tangent x on this special right triangle? Tangent was opposite divided by adjacent. So that means in order to make it square root of 3, that part should be square root of 3, right? And this part should be 1. And if you apply the Pythagorean theorem here, then we're going to have square root of 3 square plus 1 square is going to be hypotenuse is square. Let's say this is a, okay, a square. The square root of 3 is going to be 3. So 3 plus 1 is going to be a square. And 4 is going to be a square. If you take the square root of both sides, then a is going to be 2, right? So this is 2. And we are familiar with this kind of triangle, as you all know, and x is going to be 60 degree in this case, right? Because the opposite side of 60 is going to be square root of 3. That angle is also 30 degree. The opposite length of 30 degree is going to be 1. Opposite of 90 degree is going to be 2. So as you can see, in this case, our angle is going to be 60 degree. So x is going to be 60, or pi divided by 3, guys. And what we can do is we can add the multiple of pi values on this also. So we can say that the first solution is pi divided by 3, and the second solution, let me write it like this. x1 sub is pi divided by 3, and x sub 2 is going to be pi divided by 3 plus pi, which is going to be pi times 3, 3 pi plus 1 pi, 4 pi. So 4 pi divided by 3, guys. So this is one solution. This is another solution, guys. Why? Because we are asked to find the solutions within this interval. Okay. So both solutions are less than 2 pi. That means if you put pi divided by 3 instead of x, then we're going to have square root of 3. If you put 4 pi divided by 3 instead of x, again we're going to have square root of 3. And we have the next question, and in the question it says find the solution of sine 2x, which is equal to 2 times cosine x. And here also our angle is between 0 and 2 pi. Here guys, we're gonna benefit from one of the famous formulas for sine 2x. Okay, if you remember, sine 2x was, let me write it here, sine 2x is 2 times sine x times cosine x. So if we write this as 2 times cosine x, guys, and then what we can do is send this 2 cosine x from right to the left, and once we do it, then we're gonna have 2 sine x times cosine x minus 2 cosine x is gonna be 0. What I did here, because cosine x was positive on the right, if you send it from one side to another side of equal sign, then it changes its sign. So here on the right side it was positive, on the left it becomes negative. For the people who don't know what I did here, I recommend you to take a look at one of my previous videos about shortcuts in calculations. Anyway, here guys, we have cosine x and cosine x in common. So if I take the whole expression in cosine x parentheses, then we're gonna have cosine x times 2 sine x minus 2, guys, which is equal to 0. And now I'm multiplying two terms, cosine x by 2 sine x minus 2, guys. So either the first term is 0 or the second term is 0, right? Because 0 times something is gonna be 0. So if the first term is 0, which means that if cosine x is 0, then cosine x is 0 at which points? If you remember, let's say this is our unit circle, okay? Cosine x is 0 at pi over 2 here and at 3 pi divided by 2 here. So that means, guys, x is pi over 2 or 3 pi over 2. So by just considering the first term as 0, then we have those solutions. And for the second term, if we have 2 sine x minus 2 as 0, then what I'm gonna do is send this 2 to the right side. So we're gonna have 2 sine x is, on the left it was negative 2, and now it's gonna be positive 2. And if you divide both sides by 2 to leave sine x alone, and these are gone, so sine x is gonna be 1, guys. Let me write it here. Sine x is 1 in this case. And sine x is equal to 1 at which point? Again, at the point pi over 2, sine x is 1, guys. So from here, we also see that x is pi over 2 is another solution. But because pi over 2 is here, okay, we already found it here, that means our solutions are pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2 finally. So solution set, I can write the solution set as pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2 in this case, guys. And this is our last question, guys, in this video. And we have sine squared x minus sine x minus 2, which is equal to 0. And for x between 0 and 2 pi, what is the solution of this equation? Well, we need to factor this equation. For example, sine x can be written as sine x times sine x, right? Negative 2 can be written as negative 2 times positive 1. If I multiply the terms like this, and then sine x times 1, which is going to be sine x here, negative 2 times sine x is going to be negative 2 sine x, and if I add those terms up, then I'm going to have negative sine x. Is it equal to the term that we have in the middle here? Yes, it is. That means, guys, I can write the terms in this way, okay? From here, I'm going to have sine x minus 2 times sine x plus 1, which is equal to 0, guys. So if you have such a term, okay, on the left, and you can factor the first term, which is sine squared x here, and you can factor the last term, which is negative 2, like this, and then multiply them as in the cross product, and then add them up, okay, like I did here. And if you find the term like we have here, negative sine x, which is equal to in the middle here, and you can write those terms in this way, okay? So we have sine x minus 2 times sine x plus 1, which is equal to 0. And again, I'm going to do the same thing here. We are multiplying two terms. Either the first term is 0 or the second term is going to be 0, because 0 times something is going to be 0, which is going to give me the solution of this equation. So if I say sine x minus 2 is 0 and send this -2 to the right side to make it positive. So we're going to have sine x is 2. But we all know that sine x cannot be greater than 1, which means that, guys, this is not possible, right? Because if you remember, sine x takes values between -1 and +1 within this interval, right? So that means sine x cannot be equal to 2. So we need to consider the second term, which is sine x plus 1 is equal to 0, guys. And again, if you send this one to the right side, sine x is going to be -1. So which value of sine is going to be -1? And again, if you remember the unit circle, sine x is going to be 1 at the point pi over 2 here. At the opposite side here, sine x is -1. And this point is 3 pi divided by 2. So we see that x is 3 pi divided by 2, guys, which is the solution of this equation. And this question was our last question, guys, in this video. If you have any questions related to the questions or anything that I solved here, you can put them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching and hopefully see you in the next video.